I often get asked the question, what do we do now? We have restricted funds, but we really need that money for operations. Well, today I'm going to address that question. Hi, I'm Teresa Clark, a seasoned CPA with over 25 years of experience dedicated to 501c3 nonprofits. See, I've worked as an internal CFO and an external auditor to nonprofits, and I bring a unique perspective to your financial journey. Consider me your strategic partner in mastering the intricacies of money. If you'd like additional resources, you can visit my website, teresaclark.com. If you find yourself in a situation where you have resources, but they're actually just not available because they're restricted, you might be wondering what to do. Well, here's some steps to go through in setting your organization up to prevent that or to get out once you've arrived there. It's a common problem, and so I want to share these tips with you today. The very first thing is that you really need to define for your nonprofit what are the restricted funds that you're going to receive. So you might even be saying, Teresa, what is a restricted fund? Well, restricted funds are gifts that are given by donors for a restricted purpose or an intended purpose, or maybe in a specific period of time. Now, I want to put a side note here that those gifts have to still qualify as a tax-exempt donation, and that's a different topic. We can address it in another video. But the short answer is if you're finding yourself stuck with too many restricted funds and not enough for operations or a new program, then your first step is reduce the number of restricted funds you have. Your board should be involved in helping to decide, do we really need all these buckets of money, all these bowls of soup, if you will, to serve to feed the mission that we have? The strongest funding models do not rely on donations that are narrowly restricted to elements of the mission. Instead, the strongest funding models rely on high trust asks that focus on the impact that the nonprofit is having and invite the donors to be a part of making a difference by supporting the nonprofit. Now, I find most narrow asks comes from a nonprofit that is just starting up. And the reason why is because it's a lot easier to feel like you're exchanging something. It's scary to ask for money when you feel like you're giving nothing back. It's definitely not what we're trained to do. It's not how our lives work. I mean, we pay for groceries, we get the groceries, right? So this is a very different place in life to be asking someone to support something that is the mission of a nonprofit when all they really receive back is something very intangible. So fear is really what causes nonprofits to, I shouldn't say it's only, but fear often causes nonprofits to ask for something so narrowly specific that it becomes a restricted transaction. Whereas mature nonprofits ask for support for the mission from a high trust and from history of success. So if you're in a place where you already have tons of restricted funds, your goal is to start simplifying. How do you do that? One, you want to evaluate if the giving in that restricted area exceeds the expenses. So are people giving more than you're spending for that restricted purpose? If the answer is no, then change the way you raise. Then you don't need to be raising restricted funds because you're spending more than what you're getting. So don't ask for those narrow gifts. Instead, ask for mission-oriented gifts that say your support of our nonprofit helps us to fulfill the mission of blank. That ask now has given you unrestricted resources. Now use integrity, but begin embracing this as a new mindset. The second thing is, if you ask, if the answer is yes, meaning that you are in a situation where the giving in the restricted area actually exceeds the expenses, then these gifts are actually creating a possibility of growing something and maybe preparing for the future. That would be an example of a building fund or a capital project. This makes a good sense, and you should be getting those restricted funds because you want them to accumulate so that when the time comes, you have them. So that's a situation where, yes, you want to keep it. If there's a different situation where they are not, you're getting resources and they're earmarked for a Christmas project when in fact Christmas costs are much lower, you want to start reorienting that. Enlarge the ask to say this is a gift to help us champion our residents. And so it's not just about Christmas. Now it can be Christmas themed, it can be asked at Christmas. And again, you got to use integrity, but begin embracing this new mindset. Okay, so once you've identified though that you do want some restricted funds, we need to talk about cash management. You want to make sure that that money is tracked in your financial statements. Now, it does not have to be separated by bank account, although there are times if the time horizon on your restricted funds is long. For example, in a capital moment, you may be accumulating capital gifts that are going to be used in a 5-year plan for facility improvement. Well, you probably want to begin moving that money out of your regular cash account and into an investment tool that will match the horizon. And by all means, your board needs an investment policy at that point if you're getting into that. All right, well, if you are swimming in a sea of restricted funds and you're not sure where you need to go, I'd love to have a one-on-one conversation with you. Jump on my website and you can book a strategic consult with me at teresaclark.com. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I hope you found this information valuable, insightful. And if you enjoyed what you saw and want to dive deeper into topics related to nonprofit finance, you can check out my extensive video library here on this YouTube channel. We're going to cover a range of topics that I think might find something that resonates for you. And that's not all. If you'd like to have some more resources, you can visit my website where there's a blog filled with great content to support you on your journey. And lastly, if you don't want to miss one of these tips, you want to be the first to receive them, subscribe to my weekly notifications and email that will come directly to your inbox. Thanks again for being part of this community, and I look forward to this journey with you. Until next time, stay inspired, stay equipped, and keep making an impact in the nonprofit world. Take care.